Thousands of horsepower are being unleashed to these rear wheels. Horsepower fed by nitromethane fuel, liquid dynamite. Two men in two monsters, waiting for that green light that sets in motion a bullet on four wheels. In the next 6 seconds, anything can happen.
Went through the lights at 225 and hit the guardrail and flipped over. When I woke up, the car was gone. It was destroyed. I feel they're pretty safe, or I wouldn't ride in one, and I like it. That's what I do for a living. The car's worth $30,000, but I don't know how much it'll cost to fix it yet.
Drag racing, the ultimate in head-to-head speed competition. It's the U.S. National Drag Racing Championships, the top fuelers, funny cars, and motorcycles, and all the perils that speed brings. Raceway Park in Indianapolis, Indiana, where the U.S. Nationals have drawn more than 1,500 entries, making this the largest auto race in the world. That's why 100,000 racing fans turn out each year for this classic. This is the 20th annual NHRA US Nationals Championships. And we've had a record number of entries competing for a record purse. Nearly $315,000 and 1,500 entries competing for that amount of money. Hi, I'm Bill Fleming, welcoming you to this premier event in drag racing. Now, it's a rather cold and blustery and a rather dark day here in the state of Indiana. Makes us feel a little bit more like we should be covering a football game. And it's given the crews a particular problem because these are very temperamental machines and they've had to work overtime in getting them just right for these rather cold temperatures. We've had some surprises, we can tell you that. In fact, we know we're going to have one new national champion in the top fueler division. The defending national champion and twice the national champion, Gary Beck, has been eliminated. Let's see what happened to the defending champion, Gary Beck. He's there on the left, and as he poured the power into the rear wheels, the axle broke, and the right rear wheel came flying out. Gary Beck did a fantastic job of steering this snarling machine to a halt, as with the aid of the parachute, he avoided any disasters. And as you can see, Dale Funk went on to victory, eliminating Gary Beck. And Gary, after 4 days of competition, has been joined in the loser's circle by a lot of other big names in the top fuelers. Names like Jerry Ruth, Larry Dixon, Sarge Arciero, Carl Olson, and John Wiebe. Now we're getting ready for the quarterfinals of the funny cars. In the far lane, on the left side, young Billy Meyer of Waco, Texas, earlier turned in a 6:19, knocking 300 to the second off Don Prudhomme's old 6:22 mark. After that race, he went back to the pit area to do his own work. Very concerned about the crankshaft in this car. Therefore, they dropped the pan to inspect the shaft. It was okay. And so he said, all right, button it back up again, and we'll go on the line. And he's against a tough customer, Ed McCulloch of Fresno, California. But this 19-year-old from Waco, Texas, has a legion of followers right now as they move to B stage. Billy Meyer will go on to win this one easily as McCulloch broke his car at the line, and there is a 6.19 elapsed time, 6 and 1900 seconds, at a top speed of 218.44 miles an hour, and it's a disheartened crew of Ed McCulloch as they shake their heads and go down and pick up that car. And here he is, a young man to watch, on the move, 19-year-old Billy Meyer, who will go on to the semifinals. Now a quick look at the bracketing. You saw Billy Meyer defeat McCulloch. Then Don Shoemaker defeated Bat Foster. And that sets up the match right now between Don the Snake Prudhomme and Al Bergler. Prudhomme from Granada Hills, California, who won an unprecedented 4th U.S. Nationals Eliminator victory a year ago, is certainly a top-heavy favorite again this year. Nobody is wilier than the Snake Prudhomme. He's up against a good man here, the 74 Vega, Al Bergler of Mount Clemens, Michigan. Incidentally, Prudhomme is driving a 74 Cuda. On the line they go, once they're staged. Then the Christmas tree lights go. The question is, which man can get off cleanly as Buster Couch throws the green? Prudhomme getting a sensational start. He'll win it. He'll win it easily as he popped his chute a little bit early, as a matter of fact, almost a little bit overconfident. Well, that's what happens when you're a great veteran. Prudhomme knew that he had his man beat, so he eased off on the throttle and pops his chute. You'll see it go just a little before he hits the lights. And that gives him a 6:43 elapsed time, 200 flat, as far as the top-end speed is concerned, and he goes on to the semifinals. Now, 2 nights ago, Mike Miller, who'll be facing Kosti Ivanov, had a dramatic thing happen to him in the time trials on the left side. You'll see Miller come out, and as he crosses the finish line, the engine blew. And parts scattered everywhere. But believe it or not, they worked all night long. They got a new engine installed in that machine, and all he did was to go out and beat Danny Ongaias, and now he's ready to go in the quarterfinals in his Green Elephant with a new engine against Kosti Ivanov. And Kosti Ivanov is having a little bit of trouble getting that car to come up to the starting line, and I don't believe they're going to make it. They cannot get it unfrozen. Kosti Ivanov, sitting almost helpless now, can't do a thing about it. What a story he had. His father put a car together with spare parts and drove the family out of communist Bulgaria. That happened something like 15 years ago. And Kosti Ivanov came to the United States, became a great drag racing star. But right now, one of the most disappointing moments in his career, that will send Mike Miller in the Green Elephant to the starting line all alone. Ivanov can't contest him, the ultimate in frustration in drag racing. This is what they call a milk run, a piece of cake. And Mike Miller advances to the semifinals. Back in the pit area, 19-year-old Billy Meyer lying on his back underneath his funny car, getting it ready for the semifinals.
I got it, Ed. I got it. Right behind you, Fred. What's that?
Billy is an absolute wizard when it comes to automobile engines. And believe it or not, they can take an automobile engine out of one of these cars and have it replaced in 35 minutes. And the activity is just as frenzied over in Don Shoemaker's pit area. Don does the work on his car, too.
Down off the jack, let's head on up there. Down and back. I still need an 11/16.
Trying to mastermind his way to victory over Billy Meyer. In the meantime, we're getting ready for the semifinals in the bikes. And roaring up to the line is the defending champion, Bob Moriello. And here's his opponent, KC Bob Spillers of Fort Wayne, Indiana. These bikes are double engine. The engine's between the two wheels, and they can really fly. Moriello qualified at 168 miles an hour. Joe Smith was the fastest qualifier at 171. We'll be seeing him very shortly. But right now, it's head-to-head, Spillers against Moriello. And there's not much protection out there for the rider. Pretty tough to keep things in line. Earlier, we talked to Bob Moriello about it.
Boy, reflexes have to be pretty sharp at 180 miles an hour when you're lying down. You have to be kind of a peculiar fella in order to do that. I would think that it would demand a great deal of courage to hurdle yourself behind one of these.
Well, it's nice of you to say it, but I just don't think of myself as anybody special. It's just something I happen to do.
While they're working on your bike, you're getting it ready. Well, what's the most difficult thing? I mean, like the first 50 yards or so?
The most difficult thing is about the first 50 to 75 feet, I would say. Feet. It's that close a thing. If I can get it out hard enough in the first few feet like that, I'm happy because it's accelerating as hard as it can. If I don't do that, then it's all over.
And they're on the line. Moriello in the far lane. Spillers in the near lane. And look at Moriello's takeoff. that first 75 feet, and he just blows Spillers off. Spillers eases up, and Moriello flashes to victory in 8.89 for an ET, and 163.33 is the top speed. So Moriello, the defending champion, will go into the finals. Now moving up for another semifinals is Joe Smith. Here's the fellow that had the fastest qualifying speed of 171. He's in against T.C. Christensen. Little burnout here, getting those tires ready to go. Joe Smith. And Buster Couch, the starter, taking a little lunch break on the line. It's pretty tough to move away from these fast-moving events. One group's out of the way, and the next one comes up. Look at Joe Smith. Stretching out on that big Harley with the double engines, 3,800 cc's. He's sitting on top of lots of cubes, as they say. Joe Smith, the former national champion bike rider, against T.C. Christensen in the far lane. And it is Smith who gets a great start. And look at him fly at the finish line. 8.45. The ET, 172.4. Christensen, 9.13. Quite a ways behind. So Joe Smith will go into the finals against Moriello. That ought to be some matchup. Joe Smith, the first man to get into the 8th. And now everybody cheers as Billy Meyer comes out, getting ready for the semifinal matchup between him and Don Shoemaker. As Billy comes into that wet area on the pavement, he'll spin those rear tires, heating them up. The water keeps the tires from blistering. Or spinning them like that and making them smoke, heats them up, gives them lots of traction and bite, which is what you need at the start line. And now, here comes Don Shoemaker from Partridge, Illinois, known as Super Shoe. Won the national championship in 1970. Hopes to repeat here in the Nationals in 1974. And Billy Meyer hopes to capture his very first national title. Waco Willie is his nickname, and we talked to him a little bit earlier.
Hey, Billy, I don't want to bother you when you're real busy here, but what did you find in the shaft? Was it okay?
Yeah, it was perfect. That surprised me, but we had to find out.
Billy Meyer was satisfied with the crankshaft on his car, so we moved over to Don Shoemaker's pit.
What seems to be the problem? You seem to be working frantically here.
Oh, we got a little bit too much weight on the clutch, and it's pulling the motor down in the middle and burning some pistons out of it.
That's why you changed the pistons, huh?
That's right. We have to change 4 of them.
Well, aside from the mechanical problem, how about the psychological problem going against young Billy Meyer?
I'll take him on any day of the week. He's my hero right now because he's a good friend of mine. He's a very young man, and he's doing a hell of a job, but I'll take him on any day of the week.
Well, you won't have to wait any day of the week. It's coming up real soon.
That's right.
It's coming up right now, as a matter of fact, as Don Shoemaker eases his car to the line. Boy, what a moment of tension here. Everything has to be so right at that start, and Billy Meyer gets a good start. He's got a half a car length lead, now a car length, now 2 cars, and he goes over, and the engine blows on Shoemaker's car as he crosses the finish line. Billy Meyer defeats Don Shoemaker in the semis of the funny car, and Shoemaker blows the engine at the line. Let's take a look at what happened. And we saw the flames shoot out of that car. Here's Billy. He realizes that he's got it won. There goes the chute a little bit early. And there goes the engine. 6:26. The elapsed time for Meyer, 2:10.28. And for Shoemaker, a 6:34 and a top speed of 2:25. But, of course, Billy Meyer eased off his engine just before the finish line. And now here is Don the Snake Prudhomme going against Mike Miller in the Green Elephant as Prudhomme goes through the burnout. And here is the Green Elephant. Mike Miller, as we told you earlier, defeated Danny Ongayas. And now here he is against Don Prudhomme. In the quarters, Prudhomme defeated Al Bergler of Mount Clemens, Michigan. And you'll recall that in the quarters, Kosti Ivanov couldn't get his car started, so Mike Miller had a real easy one. But this one will be far from easy. There are very few men in drag racing who have been able to beat Don Prudhomme on the line. Many have gambled and have red-lighted, and you don't see the red light go on very often for Prudhomme. All right, they ease it up there. Everybody standing to see if the snake... brakes on Miller's car, and that's just enough to let Prudhomme sail on into the finish line. Mike Miller couldn't control it, and there it is, a victory for Prudhomme at 6:56 and 185 top speed. Mike Miller a 9:98, and Prudhomme will go against Billy Meyer in the final. A couple of former champions, Don Prudhomme on the left and Bill Grumpy Jenkins, the Superstock champ of '67, are discussing, believe it or not, the weather, because it looks like Mother Nature is not going to cooperate with the remainder of the day here. Rain is starting to come down quite hard. There is a front approaching from the west, and they say that when that happens in Indianapolis, you go for your umbrellas. Right now they're wheeling Dale Funk and R. Gaines Markley at the starting line, but it doesn't look as if that track is going to be dry enough. Buster Couch, the official starter and the man who has the word, has indicated that it is all off. They cannot run, so they're shutting down, and R. Gaines Markley lifts the headgear, and it looks like we may have quite a lengthy delay here. A cold rain coming in from the north as many of the fans now are heading towards shelter. So right now, let's go to Jim McKay and Dick Button in Sapporo, Japan for the World Professional Figure Skating Champions. Thanks very much. We're back racing again at Indianapolis Raceway Park. It did take a little bit longer for that front to go through than we had anticipated. As a matter of fact, almost a day. But as you can see behind me, the skies have cleared. No more rain in sight. It is cold and it is windy, and the scene has changed somewhat as far as the crowd's concerned. And here are a few hardy souls who have remained to watch what promises to be a great windup to these 20th Annual Nationals at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Many of the campers have moved out. A lot of people had to go back to work. But there are some dyed-in-the-wool fans, including Billy Vukovich of Indy fame, who is still on hand as a spectator. And now let's set the scene for you as we get ready for the top fuel semis. On the left is Dale Funk. He comes from Valley Station, Kentucky in his Chrysler-powered AA fueler. And he'll be up against R. Gaines Markley, who comes from Federal Way, Washington. Here is Funk. And now Markley. As they burn the tires in and get ready for the semis, the noise is deafening here as we get ready for what has to be a great showdown. Wheeling him back. R. Gaines Markley and Dale Funk. And this one, believe me, is really a toss-up. Both Chrysler-powered, both with more than 1,500 horsepower. Markley has knocked off Bruce Jarrett, Dwight Salisbury, and Larry Dixon. And Funk got here by eliminating defending champion Gary Beck, Bob Noyce, and then John Wiebe in a close one. So here we go. Markley in the purple slingshot, and it's a great start. It's dead even halfway. What a finish. They both popped the chutes about the same time, and look at this. The official winner is R. Gaines Markley. His ET is 6:18, and here's a quirk. Dale Funk's ET is 6:17, 1/100th of a second faster, so to speak. But remember, in drag racing, it's the man, providing he gets a clean start, who crosses the finish line first. So apparently Markley got just a step behind at the start, but he crossed the finish line in front, and so he goes on to the finals. And now, getting ready for Graham and Hughes. This will be quite a tangle. Marvin Graham comes from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And he'll be taking on Dwight Hughes from Selma, California. These are a couple of Donovan-powered machines. Just listen to them rattle. Dwight Hughes. Hughes got here by getting past Paul Longnecker, Jeb Allen, and Ted Wolf, and Graham took out Gary Hazen, Hank Johnson, and Jim Herbert. Hughes blows! Hughes blows, and Marvin Graham will win this semifinal. Dwight Hughes keeps that car right on line, but it looked like the entire top of the engine blew right off. It started apparently in the supercharger. The blower went, and what a burst of flame came out of there. Here's the ET, 618 per gram of 231.36. Look at the heat waves come out on the replay now, and let's see what happened. There's a little puff of flame, and then everything just disintegrates. Incidentally, in the foreground, you see our remote-operated camera on that bench. We're very happy that nobody was manning it because look at the shrapnel heading in that direction. The entire head is flipping in midair. And now, let's see what that camera that was activated by remote control saw of Dwight Hughes' blown engine. It looks even fast in slow motion. Well, everything's all right. Certainly okay as far as the driver's concerned. And there's another point for having the engine behind you and not in front. Well, all you bicycle enthusiasts, get ready for the finals now of the Motorcycle Championship here at the Nationals. Joe Smith in the near lane. The taller lane on the far side is Bob Moriello, who won the title a year ago. Joe Smith won it 2 years ago. It's a Harley in the near lane against a Triumph in the far lane, both double-engine machines. And it's a good start. Joe Smith takes the lead. Look at him go. Joe Smith goes across, and the ET is 845, but look at this top-end speed, 170.45. And Bob Moriello goes down to defeat. He had a 914 ET, but his top end only 126.22. And as they come off the line, you can see they're pretty even, but it was that superior power that carried Smith to victory. And it's an 845.
Well, here he is, Joe Smith. And Joe, congratulations, you dethroned the defending champion.
Yeah, it was really neat. It was really something. 845, huh? That's pretty good.
You like it?
Oh, I'm happy with it, really. That's the only bike in history that's turned 40 runs in succession, and I'm really happy about it.
You know, you were once a national champion. You had to wait a couple of years to repeat it, and boy, that must make you feel mighty good.
Well,
From your rooting section.
True now, you know.
Right on the side of your thing there, you got Drag Racing's first 8-second motorcycle.
Now his wife, Pat, and daughter, Patsy, come up to give him some big victory hugs.
Oh, you crying a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit.
I don't blame you. It's been a lot of hard work, hasn't it?
This is our first double, and we've only had it together about, it's been about 2 months now, so we're looking pretty good.
It only goes to show you that there's emotion in no matter what sport you cover.
Oh, yeah, even Verdone cries. I've seen him do it.
Don Prudhomme getting the best wishes of a couple of friends of his, Linda Vaughn, and none other than A.J. Foyt. Prudhomme going back to the garage area to get ready for his battle against Billy Meyer. But right now, we're set to go with the Top Fuel Finals. And here is Marvin Graham of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And he'll be going against the Purple Monster of R. Gaines Markley. Here they come. This is the top of the line. The Top Fuelers. Now, before these men left the garage area, we were back there. We talked to both Marvin Graham and R. Gaines Markley.
Probably a tough question to answer, but how many horsepower one of these big Top Fuelers develop?
There's really no way to really put one on a dyno and say they estimate around 1,800.
Well, how do you feel about your opponent, Marvin?
It's going to be tough. It's really going to be tough.
You ready?
I think so.
Are you going to shave if you win?
Yes. Yes, I am.
So, from the Pacific Northwest area, from the state of Washington, R. Gaines Markley, as he moves to the line against Marvin Graham. Well, you don't have to say much here. The start, of course, is all important, but they only have 6 seconds to get down that quarter of a mile, and not much of a little steering wheel there to guide him down. It's just jump on it and go. Those stacks belching out the exhaust of nitromethane fuel. Here we go! Markley's tires are burning, and that's a bad sign as Marvin Graham will cross first. Unofficially, it is a 6:17, and Marvin Graham of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, is the new champion, as Gaines Markley couldn't get the bite that he needed. And let's move over and talk to the new champion.
Hey, Marvin, congratulations. Do you know you won it?
Yes, yeah. Man, I can't believe it.
Take that headgear off so we can get a look at your happy face. You say you can't believe it? Did you really? I think it was a 6:17. I don't know whether that's official or not. Is it official? 6:17. Does that make you a little bit happy?
Yeah. I was hoping it'd run a little quicker than that, but that's all it takes to win. That's good. I'm glad.
You know, did you have an inkling that that this might have been your year?
Not until I came up here last Friday, and everything started coming together pretty good.
How about at that start line when that amber hit and you got 0.4 of a second till the green? Was your heart pumping a little bit?
Oh, once I pull in there, I don't really ever think about it. I just do what I do every time, and it just works out. Great. What happened to Gaines?
Well, let's take a look and see what happens to Gaines. We mentioned in calling the race that there was too much smoke coming out of those rear tires, and I think we're going to be able to see it again. Now, whenever the tires begin to smoke, it means that the tires are spinning, they're skidding, they're not getting the bite on the surface, and therefore they're not propelling that racer. Notice, for instance, how Marvin Graham is absolutely clean. Well, here he is, the champ Marvin Graham, getting out of the car. A mighty happy man he is. What a great thrill to be named the national champion, and he'll reign for a year. And he'll be joined by these other national champions. In the stocks, it was Al Venus. He took the victory as Larry Peterson in the wagon, red-lighted. Tough break. Dwight Cox won in the super stocks. In the modified, it was Tim McDonald. The comp eliminator, the new champion, Bob Riffle. The pro comp, Ken Vaney. And a repeat champion in the pro stocks, Bob Glidden, who won when his opponent Don Nicholson red-lighted. And now we have one more champion to be named. The question is, who will it be in the funny car, Don Prudhomme or this youngster right here from Waco, Texas, 19-year-old Billy Meyer, who's working again frantically on his car, getting it ready to go to the finals against the Snake. And Don Prudhomme has things pretty well buttoned up. No activity in that pit.
Billy, because you've got the lowest ET, you've got your choice of lanes. Which have you chosen?
Unless anybody breaks, I'll probably take the right lane. I made a run early this morning, just about 100 foot, and the car hooked up good. I think that's the lane I'll take.
Seems to be the right lane for the funny cars is the best one.
It does. What's funny is that the top fuel car is taking the left lane. So really, that kind of shows they're both about the same. Just looks to me like the left lane shakes too much with a funny car.
Well, we're moments away from Billy putting the top on his car. Let's talk to Don Prudhomme.
Well, Don, we found out from Billy that he wants the right lane. That means the left one's for you, the tower lane. How do you feel about it?
Well, I still feel pretty good about it. Billy's running awfully good, and of course, low ET the previous round has his choice of lanes, but I feel all right. The left lane looks plenty good, and we worked on the car all night last night. The rain kind of saved us today, or I should say yesterday.
Is there any psychology that you might work on your younger opponent?
Well, I think he's plenty nervous about the race, and I'm a little nervous myself. I think he'd like to beat me, and I don't think he's ever won a national event before, and I guess I've won a few, so he's out there to beat me.
And so the stage is set for the dramatic showdown between the defending champion Don Prudhomme and the newcomer who came out of Texas to challenge the champ, Billy Meyer.